Good morning. Uh, it's one of my favorite times of the day right now, first thing in the morning, which incidentally um, used to be my least favorite. Getting up in the morning was always the worst part of my day. I never really wanted to get up. Um, and that was like my biggest hurdle to get over. Just getting out of the bed in the morning. Everything was easy after that. Just that very first thing. Like I really don't want to get up. Actually, this morning I tried to get up earlier. I set my alarm for about 20 minutes earlier than normal, but it backfired because then I woke up. Then I ended up canceling that alarm when it went off. And I woke up later than normal, but still not too late. Good morning, Wanda. It's so good to see you on here every morning. I appreciate that. I hope that you are getting something of value from this. That even if just incrementally you have seen just a little bit of a shift in just your perspective, your the way your day unfolds, just all of this, just even a little bit. If you do, that's great. That's all I really want. I get so much out of this, and it's just it is an honor to share this with whoever wants to watch. In the beginning, when I first decided to, yes, great morning, Miss Vigil Pineda. And how's life in sunny Florida? Of course, I already know it's great. I'm so glad that you are there. In the beginning, when I first kind of went into this transitional period, I was very afraid of what might happen. I was, 34, and I had lived a whole life, and I had already kind of defined who I was and my behaviors, my habits, my lifestyle, and suddenly I wanted something completely different. It was terrifying for me because I said, when I change, if I make different decisions, if I start steering away from doing just everything that is comfortable and convenient, and quite honestly, so much of it just so natural feeling. Who will I be then? What will become of Michael? Who will I be once I stop doing all of these things and begin doing all of these things and reconfigure the way that I approach my relationships, the way that I approach my day, my difficulties. Just it was terrifying to me to think that I would no longer, like, my identity would be just dismantled completely, and that's what I thought. But it was worth it. Even then, I just said, I just don't like how life is unfolding, and I've got to figure it out because I don't want to do it like this anymore. I don't want to do life if it is going to be how it's been, And as I began to do this, I realized that life is only how I make it be. My life is only how I make it. So I decided to make it a little more deliberately, a little bit more intentionally, and it has unfolded beautifully. It doesn't mean that everything all of a sudden is different. Like, now I've just reached this enlightened state, and now I just get to exist on earth without responsibilities and without having to have a job. No, I have not yet reached that stage, if that's even a part of this journey. Many things are still very much the same, but the energy that I create, the relationships that I have, and just everything about my life is completely different, but my identity remains intact. So that's where we are. And as we start to round out the root chakra introductory portion of this journey, I just want to, I check in with myself via my journal. There are, lots of things that I want to address over time, and so I will do them. Anyway, so let's just get this day started intentionally and deliberately, as we always do. Just looking ahead. with an unfocused gaze, seated in a comfortable position where we can be for the next 15 or 20 minutes without too much readjusting, and breathing deeply. In through the nose and out through the mouth. The only time during this exercise where we will be contributing to the breathing in an active way. Inhaling good, clean oxygen, positivity, love, possibility. And exhaling negativity, negative thoughts, self-doubt. And with the next out breath, just closing the eyes and returning the breathing to normal, in and out through the nose. Allowing the body to once again resume control of the breathing faculty. And as we settle into this space, this physical space, this spiritual space, we begin to become aware of the place where we are sitting this morning in 3 dimensions, aware of all the space around us, though our eyes are closed, aware of our surroundings, the familiarity of it. And we tune in to the physical senses, feeling the weight of the body being pulled down toward our seat, and noticing very deliberately the contact between our bodies and where we are sat. Feeling our hands and forearms resting on our legs. Noticing any sounds that may be floating around in the morning air. And just noticing them as they rise from nowhere and disappear. Noticing any aromas that may be hanging around. As well as any tastes in the early morning mouth. And as we tune into these physical senses, we take a moment to check in with the body, to see how it's feeling today. Just giving it a quick scan from the soles of the feet to the top of the head. Just noticing bit by bit each body part, places of comfort or discomfort, places of tension or relaxation. But not stopping and lingering, just noticing. Does everything feel as it felt yesterday? And now turning our attention to the breath, observing as the body does quite naturally what it was created to do. Breathe. And just noticing where we feel or where we notice that rising and falling of the breath within the body. Is it high in the chest? Is it in the diaphragm? Maybe low in the belly? Do we feel at the same place every day? And again, just observing. And as we move deeper into the space, we take a moment to begin the day with gratitude, searching our minds for that which I am thankful today. This morning I am thankful for that very thing upon which we focus in the beginning. Something I have taken for granted many times over the course of my life, and that is my physical senses, my faculties of touch, taste, sight, hearing. For they have allowed me to navigate the waters of my life, each one integral. My nose being able to smell things that I can neither see nor hear, alerting me to what may be around corners. My eyes allowing me to travel as I please, noticing any impediments or beauty along the way. And I simply say aloud, thank you. And beginning the day on the right foot, setting the tone for how it will unfold, I determine that on which I choose to focus. Ahead of any thoughts my mind may create during the day, or any feelings my body may try to convey to me throughout the course of the day, because they don't all necessarily line up with the truth or with the direction that I'm going. And so I intend and affirm I am healthy and strong in body, mind, and spirit. I honor my body and treat it with respect. All of my needs are met, and I have everything I need to create the life I want to have. I am deeply connected to all of nature and to my fellow man. I cultivate strong roots upon which I will build my life. I radiate light and love at all times. And with our intentions set for the day, we return our focus, our attention to the breath. Merely observing the body breathing naturally on its own as it is programmed to do. Just watching that rising and falling. If it helps to count in order to keep focus, then simply count the out breaths to a count of 5 before starting back at 1. It is perfectly natural for the mind to begin to wander, particularly in the early stages. But the moment we notice, just return that focus to observing the breath. If the mind begins to wander, just redirect the attention back to the breath. And for just a few seconds, releasing all focus and allowing the mind to think about whatever it wants to think about. And now returning the focus back to the breath. As we return to the fullness of our physical senses, return to the space where our body is currently sat, becoming aware of our surroundings once again in 3 dimensions. the familiarity of it all flooding back in, and noticing the physical senses, the body pressing down on the seat, and the body coming into contact with it, the hands and the arms resting on the legs, the sounds piercing the quiet morning air, swirling the tongue around the mouth and noticing any tastes, noticing any aromas, scents, or odors that surround us. And when we're ready, slowly, gently, opening the eyes, but looking ahead with the same unfocused gaze, and retaining our position for just a moment. As we set clearly our intention for how this day will unfold. And there we have it. Some of the exercises, particularly as we progress a little further, take some time. It's all a process. Very little happens instantaneously. Sometimes it does, but in many instances, in my case, it took a good long time of deliberately intentional, action to start to really see the traction, the momentum. But it has been, again, life-changing, life-giving, and it really has allowed me to open up my eyes and my ears in a different way, to see and hear very, very differently than I used to. So, keep at it. Thank you for joining me, and just take a moment, set yourself in a space to think about the day. What do you do every day? Do you enjoy what you do? What would you rather be doing? And start to think about the life that you want to create through this practice, through refocusing, reshifting the attention to something else, to turning it completely inward, not living in your head, but deep in the spirit, and how this can unfold in just a different way. Life is beautiful, it's grand, and there's so much more than we are able to see with the physical eye. And a lot of what we see is through filters, and which is the reason that I do this live and not record, because it could just be anything. I can take 1,000 takes to get it perfect, but that's not what I'm about. I'm about creating life in the moment, about letting it unfold, about watching it unfold, and about sharing that unfolding, because I think there's a lot of power in that. Without that filter, without that deliberate shaping of what is seen, it's raw all the time. So anyway, have a great day. Spread light and love wherever you go, and we'll do this again tomorrow for the last day of tomorrow's Friday, right? Last day of Muladhara chakra, and then we're going to move on to the second chakra, the Swadhisthana chakra. But more on that another time. All right, love you.